Brought to you by Sun West Genetics.
Aaron on the visuals.
Black royalty.
Oh yeah. That's that good shit, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh yeah. I be on cloud nine, smoking with my niggas. Yeah, we do this all the time. We like, oh yeah. We be on cloud nine, puffing on this killer. Yeah, we do this every time. We say, oh yeah. I be with my kids, smoking on the ganja, and we getting in and shit. We like, oh yeah. Sometimes we cut glass. Got so high I broke the bong and got cut on the glass. I'm like, oh no, that's a lot of blood. The dirt wet on my niggas, yeah, we grimy sipping mud. We like, oh yeah, let's just hit a lick. Got 7 pounds of reefer, think it's time to make a flip. I'm like, oh yeah, I be on cloud nine, smoking with my niggas, yeah, we do this all the time. We like, oh yeah, we be on cloud nine, puffing on this killer, yeah, we do this every time. We say, oh yeah, now I'm stacking cash, skipped a lot of school, but still do numbers with this math. I'm like, add that, multiply, divide, bought myself a hoopty, still remember my first ride. I was 16, macking on these girls, mom gone for the winter, so let's drink until we hurl. Got the Grey Goose, sipping on some Crown, that's the way we did it growing up in G-Town. I'm like, oh yeah, I be on cloud nine, smoking with my niggas, yeah, we do this all the time. We like, oh yeah, we be on cloud nine, puffing on this killer, yeah, we do this every time. We say, we say, oh yeah.
And we are live for real.
Yo.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Puffa Podcast show. I'm your host, as always, the Big Puffa.
And I'm Big Lach.
Yeah, and we got a really dope show for you today. I want to say a big shout out to everybody in the chat room.
Big shout out.
Puff Gibbs. Shout out to Dennis James. What's good? Shout out to everybody. You know what I mean? Worldwide tuning in.
Shout out,
we
Brandon.
love y'all.
Hey.
Yo, what is everyone smoking on? That's what I want to know right off the bat. I want to know where everyone's from and what everyone's smoking on.
Who's got the loudest pack?
Yeah. What's the song's first name? Yo, Oscar Alcaraz. You already know what's up,
Hey,
yo.
he's ready, bro.
Yo, okay, so might as well just get to it, yo.
Bro. Let's
this
get
week's
it.
song is by a guy called Jordel Guy.
Oh, he's asking about
Oh,
Clouds.
you asking about Clouds. Okay, that's called Clouds. Yeah.
Hey, big shout out, though.
It's called Clouds. If you want to listen to it, all you gotta do is...
Please tell me you saw that girl.
Feel me? Follow that.
But yeah, this song right here that we're playing is called Goldlink by Jordel Guy. Big shout out to him.
Now, she kinda got me going like, got me, like,
We got a dope show for you guys today.
hit it from the best, I saw like go slow.
Got an interview with David Malmo-Levine.
Seen you ass across the room, got a nigga feeling like I don't wanna talk.
Also, video of the week competition. Down, Teon Gibbs featuring Lex versus I Know I'll Make It, Ernie WoodLo.
Ass I can find on the scene, see it bounce to the floor.
That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, bro, this shit go in.
We wish you were here too, Francis. Shout out to you. Also at the end, I'm gonna preview some of the new music that I got out, and also Lachlan here and the homie Krim gonna tell you about some upcoming shows that are going on. So stay tuned. Shout out to Puff too for this grind.
Yeah, shouts out. That's nice.
Okay.
Hey, big facts.
Girl, that's a hickey, like no little niggas wanna ask for it. Back with rhyme, but bursting the sass for it. And he blunted on the dog, I ain't shady from the pub, and that ass over here, let me prance on it like shit, ayy. Got a nigga trippin', like
Oh, that shit
also later on, we also gonna tell you how you can support the whole local hip hop scene. Stay tuned, we got a real cool show, yeah. Eyes closed, bro, with a dollar store jeans, but you can still get it. Shout out to Pop.tv and Cannabis Culture as well. Gracious hosts. Got me going like, oh, shit. Wanna hit it from the back, so I start like go slow.
Hey, that shit hard.
That's fire, right?
With your girl like seen you ass across the room, got a nigga feeling like I don't wanna talk for your mouth, it's a kiss night. We can hit the vibe in the club to the end of the night.
So that's Jordel Guy
Jordel Guy, shouts out.
with Goldlink.
That's just fire. Where's he from? You know?
I don't know what city specifically, but he's from the 604.
Hey.
I think possibly Surrey, but don't quote me on that. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out.
Shout out Jordel Guy.
Yeah, yo, you can follow him if you click the link.
Click
In the
that.
description, of course.
Click squad.
Yo, so
Feel
what's
me?
that weed you was rolling up earlier? That we were
Me?
smoking? Yeah.
Man, I was rolling up some of that pink kush, you feel me?
Okay.
Yeah, I also got some dabs of the pink kush, you feel me?
Oh, you hitting the dabs today?
Yeah, I might hit a little dab.
Yeah, we could have plugged it in, man.
I might forget. Yeah, I forgot to set it up, but you know, my cash loan in there.
Thanks to Entropy, we didn't.
Shouts to Entropy. We didn't use your nail, but shouts to you for hooking
Shout
up the
them
nail.
out for giving us the.
I guess we smoked too much
opportunity.
weed earlier and Big Lach forgot.
I think so. Happens sometimes.
What kind of dabs you got though?
Pink kush. Same as the
Sorry?
weed, man.
Okay.
I'm feeling the pink, you know? They say I look cute in pink too.
Then why aren't you wearing pink, bro?
Not today. I got a nice pink crew neck though from Black Royalty, you feel me? Oh. Damn, you got to go check out Black Royalty. Shout out Black Royalty. Check them out on what's the website?
Why'd you wear it though?
BLCKroyalty.com.
BLCKroyalty.com. I'm not wearing it today because it's in the wash. Gotta keep it clean at least. You feel me?
I feel you. But yo, we're gonna get into this interview here with David Malmo-Levine. We've had him on the show before, but yeah, I'm just gonna let this just enjoy.
Distance charges apply, provided by Caribbean Telecom.
Marijuana, because whatever you say about marijuana compared to alcohol or cigarettes, we know that the impact on the developing brain is something we need to prevent.
Marijuana and young brains paints a scary picture.
Brain development.
Attractive to kids, among young people.
And keeping it away from kids.
Tell that to the 20,000 people are going to get a record this year.
Well, Murray, what I would tell to anyone who's breaking the law is don't. That they should obey the law.
Protecting our kids.
Talk to your teen about pot
properly by protecting our young people, by ensuring young people.
Marijuana use by youth.
and children getting a hold of these marijuana-laced candy bars.
Marijuana use during adolescence.
She was smelling a lot of marijuana in the house, and she knew that it was bad, and then her mother told her,
get tough, get creative, just get through.
And you smoke a lot of pot?
Yep.
I hear you smoke 15 joints a day.
David Malmo-Levine.
David Malmo-Levine.
Malmo-Levine.
David Malmo-Levine.
David Malmo-Levine.
David Malmo-Levine.
Malmo-Levine.
David Malmo-Levine.
Okay, so let's get you two to weigh in on the age factor, because that'll be a big top line, I think, for lots of people.
Well, it's 25 years of research. I started reading about hemp in 1992 when I read The Emperor Wears No Clothes. And then I've read every book I can on the subject, not of just of hemp and cannabis, but of drugs in general. I opened up a herb museum. I defended myself at the Supreme Court of Canada on pot dealing charges, RV Malmo-Levine 2003. I opened up a dispensary called the Stress and Depressed Association. I opened up a pot club called the Harm Reduction Club and another one called the Herb School. Been arrested many times over pot offenses, but never had a victim, never had someone who was actually harmed by my actions. I think the problem with that sentence is the word allowing. Teens are smoking pot right now. In fact, I would say the law deters teens even less than it deters adults, because adults have considerations, they get drug tested more, they've got responsibilities, they don't have as much free time. Teens are the ones that are smoking and getting high and driving around right now. In fact, they are getting high more often in their cars than need be, because we don't provide them a lounge to smoke in. They're currently, right now in Vancouver, teens have to get high in their cars because they're not allowed in the vapor lounges. That should all change. We should have safe places for teens to smoke so they don't have to drive around in their cars. But most teens are smoking pot regardless of what we allow them to do. It's like saying we allow them to have sex. Actually, no, that decision after the age of 12 or 13 is basically in their domain, because we can't monitor teens 24/7, 365. Heck, teens were getting high and having sex in the maximum security jail I used to work at in Edmonton, the Edmonton Young Offender Center. And we were warned not to sell them drugs or buy sex from them when we entered in as staff, because that was an ongoing, reoccurring problem. So if you can't stop a teen from fucking or smoking pot or getting high in jail, what makes you think you can stop them from doing those things out of jail? You can't. A certain amount of autonomy is a given. It's just a requirement of being a human being, and if you deny them that much autonomy, then you've nerfed the world. It's not like that. No, you have to assume that these decisions are going to be made by teens anyway, and given the fact that they can read, these reports and assess the harm level of cannabis relative to other harms or relative to not using any drugs whatsoever, and they can make these decisions, and they probably will, they'll continue to get high without our permission. Maybe we should just instead make the situation as safe as possible for them. I think that's the reasonable way to go. Well, I was in the Supreme Court. In 1996, I got busted for out in the open in an organization called the Harm Reduction Club. We tried to teach our customers how to avoid harming themselves with cannabis by offering them a safer, smarter smoking guide along with their club membership. And to make a long story short, made it up to the Supreme Court of Canada level. My argument was Section 7 and 15 of the Constitution protect harmless people. And while not all use or growing or dealing is harmless, all proper use and proper growing and proper dealing is harmless, and therefore protected by Section 7 and 15. Casanova once said, "In wise hands, poison is medicine, and in foolish hands, medicine is poison." And that's another way of looking at drugs. Andrew Weil said much the same thing. When he said there's no such thing as good or bad drugs. There's only good or bad relationships with drugs. So we have to evolve our way of seeing cannabis not as inherently harmful, but dependent upon our actions and our awareness and our knowledge. And we should stop seeing drugs as temptations and see them instead as tools that can be used properly or misused. Research it and use it properly and and select the terpenes that work best for us and become shamans and control our own lives. You know, through drug autonomy and vocation autonomy, I think complete sexual, political, emotional autonomy come, and we become kings and queens of our own lives. Well, like I said, you want to keep the high pleasure, low pressure activity. And the reason you want to do that is cannabis also has time slowdown or time dilation effects. A minute feels like an hour when you first start smoking pot. So you want to stretch out those sensations during pleasurable activity, when you're having an ice cream, watching a favorite movie, making love, things like that. You don't want to go to a funeral or identify a body or go take a test on a subject you're not very good at and stretch that feeling out. I didn't want to smoke pot in jail because I didn't enjoy jail. But when I got out, yeah, I wanted to get high because being free is pleasurable. And basically I limited it only to activities I enjoyed. And I found out, you know what, I like smoking pot better than doing activities. So I tried to limit my activities to only activities I enjoyed after becoming a pothead. And that's kind of an effect that pot has on you, is that you start to plan your life around your own, what makes you happy, which I think is a positive effect. Well, look at psychosis rates over time. It's simple. Between the 70s and the 90s, cannabis use rates increased fivefold. 5 times. It's like 10% to 50% of the population trying it. 3% to 30%, or 3% to 15% regular use. Depends on what you define as regular use. But dramatic increase in cannabis use rates throughout the Western world, everywhere you look. In McLeod, etc., all 2004, they looked at Britain and Sweden as 2 examples of Western world cannabis use rates increase. They did not notice a matching increase in psychosis rates. And you can't find it. I looked for it in Canada or anywhere else. It varies between 1 or 2% in all the Western nations. There's no evidence that IQs are dropping in general population statistics, even though there's a 5-fold increase in cannabis use rates in the 70s to the 90s. Why is that? You've got to ask yourself, why is it that if cannabis inherently makes us stupider, and we're using way more cannabis than ever before, why isn't it showing up in IQ rates? Why are they increasing? Why are we getting smarter every year if cannabis makes us stupider? And the answer is, there is a huge amount of conflict of interest in Reefer Madness 2.0. It justifies a continued increase in police budgets. It justifies a monopoly for medicine in licensed producers and people who can afford to jump through all the regulatory hoops that are justified through this Reefer Madness. And it justifies the overregulation of industrial hemp, which allows the fossil fuel industries to continue to rule the world. That's all the money that's behind the perpetuation of Reefer Madness 2.0. That's the reason they're lying about pot. It's actually, there's no Gen Pop stats that back up what they're saying, and they avoid even talking about them. I went to Vancouver Coastal Health. I said, look at the Gen Pot stats, evidence. They said, la, 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 we won't discuss it. We won't talk about it. Same thing with City Hall. Same thing with the Canadian Centre for Substance Abuse. Same thing with every prohibitionist and every person who argues these tight regulations are necessary. They won't look at the evidence. They won't discuss the evidence. That is an indication to me that I'm right and they're wrong. And they're just part of this huge scapegoating edifice that happens every generation. It's sometimes the witches, sometimes the Muslims, sometimes the homosexuals, sometimes the druggies, sometimes it's Socrates. But everyone's accused of harming the young, and you have to look closely at the evidence to see if that's another lie or if it's actually the truth. And in this case, it's a lie. If they can manage caffeine, which is a far more dangerous drug than cannabis, if they can avoid overdose deaths, overuse deaths, withdrawal symptoms, toxicity, acute toxicity from caffeine, then they're probably able to do the same thing with cannabis, which is a less toxic, less dangerous, less harmful drug than caffeine. The only area that cannabis is more dangerous than caffeine is in the impairment levels of novice users. Now, if we were to, say, for example, adopt the Senate recommendations of 16-year-olds being able to buy their own cannabis, and to add to that, we had a public education campaign meant to be able to help people identify impairment and to insist that teens and everyone else refrain from the use of heavy machinery, including but not limited to cars, when they are impaired. I think we can reduce the number of cannabis-related incidents to 0 or a level lower than the current levels of caffeine abuse in society today. Typically, it's not taken in amounts that would impair you, but it can be. It's not like it never impairs you. Say you're driving all night on the road and you're either poor or you have no time to, or you can't find food, but you can find coffee. You can find coffee at every gas station along the way. And I bet you there are people on the highway right now jacked up on caffeine. They've over-caffeinated. Their eyes start to shift and misfocus. Their hands become jittery. Their heart rate increases, and they're impaired on caffeine, and they're not safe to drive. Should we ban the use of caffeine because of that? Should we pull over and test the number of nanograms of caffeine in someone's blood and then take away their right to drive because they tested positive for caffeine? No, it should be based on impairment. Same thing with impairment from lack of sleep or old age or illness or prescription medication or emotional disturbance or any other reason for impairment. Walk a straight line, touch your nose, count backwards from 100. Performance testing. If you're impaired, if your performance is impaired, if it's videotaped by the cop doing the test and it holds up in court, then get that person off the road. It doesn't matter why they're impaired. Figuring out why they're impaired seems to me an investigation that only benefits scapegoaters and people who want to punish people for not being impaired, just being high, but on the road. Now, if you don't care why someone's impaired, then you are putting the immorality of being impaired on the road on the same level regardless of the reason you're impaired, which I think is what we should do and the message we should send to our young people. It doesn't matter why you're impaired, get off the road. If you can't pass an RCMP impairment test, don't even get in the car. Stay a while, sleep, wait till the drugs wear off or whatever. Get right so that you can drive again. And that's the message we should be sending to everybody. If teens are going to talk to their parents, they should know their stuff. Go to potfacts.ca, memorize all those facts, and just address the concerns as you get them. Or don't even have to go to potfacts.ca. There's 100 good sources of information of cannabis on the internet. Learn your stuff, though. Learn about this information and then address the concerns. Argue it's not inherently harmful like caffeine and other drugs. It's how you use it that determines whether you're harmed by it. And argue that you can use it properly without hurting yourself and that you should have the right to because you want to take advantage of its medical benefits. Another great source of that information is my book, Does Cannabis Inherently Harm the Developing Minds of Young People? And another great source of information is my website, potfacts.ca. Now, if you want to learn more about cannabis and teens, Google all those things. There is an eco-activist, an environmental activist in Edmonton who taught me a very important lesson. His name was Tucker Gomberg, and he said, well, it's easier to get forgiven than permission. So a lot of the time, it's just breaking the rules, but doing it in a conscious and harmless way, and then pleading your case. I mean, all the rules that make no sense should be broken and then removed through court challenges and through the court of public opinion. And I think the ones that harm the most people should be addressed first. So I just tell everyone, just become the dealer you wish to see in the world. And if you do get busted, take some of that money you made, spend it either on lawyers or on an education campaign, and show people that you were not hurting anybody and no one should hurt you as a result. And so my next article for Cannabis Culture will be become the change you wish to see, or be what you wish to see, how to defend yourself in court from semi-legalization. And it'll be a how-to conduct your own civil disobedience in your own defense in court. So, hug power is how to make it difficult for the cops to arrest you without a kerfuffle. They don't like being caught using force on camera without justification. And if you are engaged in a pot smoking, where you're smoking pot, or you have a few plants with you, or you're dealing pot, and you don't want to be arrested, sometimes arrest resistance works. And that means not touching the cops, not saying an impolite word to the cops, but going over to the person getting arrested who shouldn't be getting arrested, who's not harming anyone, giving that person a hug and not letting go for any reason. And then they got to throw two of you in the paddy wagon. They also got to separate you before they throw you in the paddy wagon, because two people hugging each other will not fit through a door of a paddy wagon. Ha! Funny that. They don't build them for huggers. So then they have to use force. And if you're surrounded by people with phone cameras, then that force is going to be caught on film. If you get hugged by a lot of people, then it's even harder for them to throw you in a paddy wagon. Comic book, the 420-page comic book called Amsterdam Comics, took 10 years to produce, and my entire adult life to research. It's basically everything I learned being a pot activist these last 25 years, summed up and then illustrated by my friend Bob High. It's huge. It's a massive, it's like a textbook of history and law about drugs. So you're going to want to check that out.
Okay, that's what's up.
Oh,
big shout out to David Malmo-Levine. Thank you for that interview.
Hell yeah.
And with that, you know what time it is. It's time for the video of the week competition. You know what it is. Go down there if you want to vote, but wait till both videos are done playing, please.
Please do that.
This first video is Down. Teon Gibbs featuring Lach. Video of the year. Here it is.
Find a better way to say this. Even though we try, life ain't always what you make it. Every time I lie, I say I love her, but I hate this. Caught up with the demons, I don't know how I'ma face them. I've been chasing paper just to list off my mistakes. Living for my dreams, I had to find a way to fake this. Cause now I'm moving on and I don't know how you gon' take this. Yeah, the love is real, but ain't no way that we can save this, no. You just wanna stay with me and tell me all the things you don't see. No, I ain't got the time.
when to going in a circle. We all play with fire, then it burns you. You need to leave your past cause it cursed you. It's hard to move it on because they hurt you. There ain't no when to going in a circle. We all play with fire, then it burns you. You need to leave your past cause it cursed you. It's hard to move it on because they hurt you.
These mountains you are carrying, you're only supposed to climb.
That's on Yoda quote.
Huh. That's deep.
Buddha.
That's deep. Well, that's Down, Teon Gibbs featuring Lex. And the next video here is Ernie WoodLo with I Know I'll Make It. Check it out.
Everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told who I thought I was. A God. I just told you. That's who I think I am.
I got some issues on my mind, mama, I miss you all the time. Just so you know I'm doing fine, your son is out here on his grind. I got some issues on my mind, brothers and sisters on my mind that I don't ever get to see, but I guess that's me. That's just how it be when you raised like me. Had to pay my dues to create my dream, but that's just how it be when you raised like me. If it wasn't for the streets, then I would never eat. Yeah, bread and butter for breakfast. Thinking about the times Pops had to pawn his necklace. This was before I was reckless, way before that. Mistakes cost a lot, wasn't no way we could afford that. Yeah, couldn't afford a thing. Thinking about the times Pops had to pawn his ring. Wasn't shit that I could do but watch his pride fade away as he slaved away to make sure I ate something every day, but they always would cut off the lights. Thinking about the times that I constantly had to fight. See, I try to back you up just so you don't look all that pitiful. Cause when I had my own room, you slept in the living room. But still you gave up. Some would say I was too young to be out on my own. 15 looking for a home. Turn me to the type of nigga who show up to beef alone. Motherfucker, I really do this on my own. But I know I'll make it. I know I'll make it. Yeah, I know I'll make it. Yeah, I know I'll make it. Yeah, I know I'll make it. 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 Yeah, I know I'll make it. I know I'll make it. I know I'll make it. Yeah, I got some issues on my mind, mama. I miss you all the time, just so you know I'm doing fine. Your son is out here on his grind. I got some issues on my mind, brothers and sisters on my mind that I don't ever get to see, but I guess that's just how it be. That's just how it be when you raised like me. Had to pay my dues to create my dream, but that's just how it be when you raised like me. If it wasn't for the streets, then I would never eat. I love myself so much, so much, so much. I love myself so much, so much, so much. So I know I'll make it. I know I'll make it.
Go hard.
This is a pretty tough competition this week, yo. So that's Ernie WoodLo with I Know I'll Make It. Which one do you think, honestly, out of those two videos, would you choose?
Honestly, I got love for that Ernie WoodLo's video and that team and that song. You know, he has a full team behind him working with that. But those two in the video, I don't know. I was drawn to the video. Yeah, I was just like watching it the whole time. Like,
well, if you want to go vote right now, go to the Puffa Podcast on Instagram and drop a comment on the last post. So which one you think should win? Okay, so we got a couple of shows coming up, and we got a guest here to talk about one of these shows here. So I'm gonna turn it over to Krim.
What's
Thanks
good?
for coming through.
No problem.
Let the people know what's good.
We got a little show coming up on September 1st with some homies. It's gonna be pretty hype. It's my birthday show, so you know.
Oh,
it'd be dope if some people came and showed some love.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's on 729 Gore Avenue at the Avant Garden or the Heat Lab. It's Heat Lab now.
Hey,
but,
you know that.
Shit, we got a bunch of performers actually. Wait, I think I need to pull up my phone for this.
No. Look right there. We got it.
Oh, you got. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, we got Jay Geezy, Elbrain, Debosky, Kregel, Young Ivany, the youngest flexer, Orbit.
Yeah.
That's my little brother. YM, Chew That Boy, Juica. I Love Darius. Fade's gonna be the DJ. Fuck, we got a lot more people though too. We got like Sam the Seagull. He's dope. We got Emilio. Who else we got? D-Walk and a couple other people. I like.
So
there's so many people. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah. There's like there's a shit ton of people down here. Yeah. It's gonna be wild.
So tickets are sold at the door, or I guess
at the door. Yeah. $10.
Okay, that's what's
fucking,
up.
It's gonna
September
be
1st.
Starts at 9 o'clock, goes till midnight, something like that.
Okay, are you gonna be the headliner?
Dude, of course, man. It's my birthday.
So, you know, if you want to come turn up,
come turn up with a little crowd.
You know what it
is.
is.
It's gonna be lit.
It's gonna be lit.
I'm gonna perform a bunch of unreleased shit too, probably.
Oh, word.
Thinking about it, might have to.
Hell yeah.
I think you should, man. It's your birthday. You might as well go
Right.
all out.
I know. I think I might drop a song too that day. Who knows?
Oh
Just
shit!
gotta make it hype.
Might just give it to y'all.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, you heard it here first, yo. So
Hell
be
yeah.
there, be square, September 1st.
Straight up.
And there's another show. Actually, is it the day after?
Day after, you feel
Dang.
me?
Lach
Party
is
back
going
to
on.
back, yo.
Let
It's
'em know.
the weekend before school, you feel me? Everybody wants to turn the fuck up. I got the flyer right here. Oh, look, they already got it up for me. I ain't even tripping. Look at that. Yo, you see all them little motherfuckers? Yo, I swear, bro.
Yo, and shout out to Fade. He's going to be working that
Hell
weekend.
yeah,
Shout
bro.
out to Fade. DJ
Look at
Fade.
him.
Stack up your
And
bank accounts
if
for
you
the
know
weekend. It's
Big
gonna be hype.
facts. And if you know Fade, man, you know that look just like
Young Ivany too.
Hell
Yo,
yeah.
Shout out to him. He's gonna be doing the back to back.
Hell yeah. Lil Ralphie.
Youngest flexer for
real. Big facts, bro. You already know. So yeah, man, y'all gotta come out to that for sure. It's 1250. It's at the Wise Hall, 1882 Adenac Street. You feel me? Doors open at 7 p.m. Tickets are $12.50 online on the Facebook page. Should have brought that up, but maybe next Tuesday. But yeah, on the Facebook page, and then $15 at door. So you know what I mean? Come turn up.
Both events, all ages.
Yep.
Okay,
so of course.
Feel me?
Man, we got some
Everyone,
young.
no reason.
We got some young artists too. Like some of these dudes are hella young. Come support them. You know.
Big facts.
Yeah,
They're
come support.
they're wild. And
Check out the feature.
Speaking of supporting, I figured out the greatest way for all the people in the 604 to support their local artists, and that's by following my Spotify playlist called 604's Finest. Show them the picture. Let me see what's up. Yo, updated, like, I wouldn't even say updated weekly. This shit is updated, like, all the time. Like, because there's always new
almost
songs.
every day.
Almost every day, because there's a lot of new music coming out locally. A lot of, like,
so many artists, so many artists, so many songs.
So many artists, so many songs, and so many good songs, too. So, you know, I always got
so
to update
many.
it. So, yeah, you know, hit him with the graph one more time. 604's Finest. There's a little apostrophe there. Go follow that. Check it out. And if you got some suggestions, you know, hit me in the DMs and let me know. You know what I mean?
Hit the D.
Yeah, so before we get out of here, I'm going to let you guys need to go check out that Low Key Beginnings if you haven't already. And we're just going to end off a little snippet so it gives you a little taste if you like what you hear. Do what the shirt says.
Gang.
You know what I'm saying? All right, so until next time, smoke weed every day. Rest in peace to Nate Dogg. We out.
Hey.
Bitch, you don't really know me, so just wipe that look off your face. I came in here with my homies, so it's G-Town up in this place. G-Town. Bitch, why you always hating? Scratch that, don't answer, don't care. Really don't. I beg you not to get me started, but you had to poke the bear. Okay, hey.
Please don't poke the bear, please don't stop and stare. Mr. Low-Key, I done been aware. Haters everywhere, I done lost some dogs to this life. I promise it ain't fair. All these frenemies switch up. I ain't in shock, electric chair. Flaky niggas gone in the wind. In other words, he a traitor. Claiming that he moved for a low, but he a fake perpetrator. Mr. Low-Key stay 10 toes, all around like a taper. Shorty steady tryna sauce away, she a surfer or a sailor. She know way too many damn busters, so low-key I can't save her. I can't trust her, I can't cuff her. She might cross me later. Easily do me greasy. Bad shorty so sleazy.